G'day guys and welcome to Topdeck Commander. I'm JP. I'm just doing a quick deck upgrade on Explorers of the Deep. The commander in this is Hakbal of the Surging Soul. Now, beginning of combat on my turn, each merfolk creature I control explores. Wow, this is awesome. Literally, grab a land. If you like the next card, just leave it there and everybody else leaves it there and gets +1/+1 counters. Whenever Hakbal attacks, you may put a land from your hand onto the battlefield. And if you don't have to, you draw a card. So a really good commander here. Does everything you like without being too scary. The only issue I have with this deck is there doesn't seem to be any replacement for him. If he gets knocked out, it seems like he's knocked out. And you're literally just relying on the fact you have a bunch of merfolk lords. So I've done an upgrade here, put a few extra cards in just to try and replace him in case he gets knocked out. He is 4 mana to cast. So once he's been chucked back in the command zone twice, that's 8 mana to get out there. You're getting a little bit worried about paying that kind of mana cost. I was about to say money. So anyway, what I've done is put in a little bit extra mana so you can get him back out if he gets hit. A little bit of extra protection with a counter spell. And I've also put in some more cards that give creatures explore. So hopefully that should just round him out a bit, round the whole deck out a bit, and make it less commander focused and make it more synergistic. So without further ado, let's get into this. I've structured this video in 3 loose tiers. There's low, medium, and high cost. I've done all 3, but anyway. So first card to go out is Realm Walker. You know, that's a good enough card in a heavy creature deck. This is now no longer as heavy as it was. Also, it's that look at the top of the library, so you're not guaranteed a draw. That's the whole issue for me with these look at the top of the library things. They're nice as a bonus, but they shouldn't be the prime reason that card is in. I've put Bread for the Hunt in its spot. A reconnaissance mission would work just as well for an extra 44 cents. But there's plenty of evasion in this deck, so I'm sure we'll be hitting for people for damage, and I reckon the 1 less mana to get Bread for the Hunt in is worth it. Library Larcenist comes in. It's got an attack trigger of draw a card, so first time it attacks, I'm getting a card. If it attacks twice, I'm well up. But I'm relying on the evasion in this deck just to get it by. Going out is Sage of Fables. You got to pay 2, remove a 1/1 counter. Yeah, it's too high a price. You're trying to build your guys up, and meanwhile you're lowering them by taking counters away, using mana to do that. I can see where it would be used, but nah, something's got to go. Sage of Fables is it. Next card, Forerunner of the Heralds. What a great card. I gain a tutor, plus a card that's got the potential to be a player killer. This deck has extra token creation in it. It can get really big really quick. And I lose a fairly vanilla lord for this. It's Merfolk Mistbinder. 2 mana, gives them a +1/+1, but nothing else. I'm focusing really on the +1/+1 counters, taking the lords out of it, not on purpose. If all they do is give a +1/+1, they're going. I can do that with an Explore trigger. I've put a Mero Commerce in the deck. So there are a few cards that tap for abilities. It's also good to give my guys a kind of vigilance, have them all ready there to defend in other people's turns. So making way for this is Surge Spanner. It's not a bad card, actually. I just needed to make cuts. It might come back in another iteration when I've played it a few times. Who knows? Next up is Deep Fathom Echo. I pulled this card on a pre-release party just last night, actually. And so that's replacing Tishana. Deep Fathom has its own Explore trigger and can then copy another creature. So imagine if it copied Topography Tracker while Hakbal is out. That's just pandemonium. That's 4 Explore triggers? And his own, maybe 5? I don't know. I've got more. I've got another way to copy later, or extra triggers, put it that way. Meanwhile, Tishana is getting a bit slow at 7 mana. You know, I've got a good 7 mana card later. But yeah, she's always in the mix in Simic decks and quite often ends up just getting tossed. So Path of Discovery comes in. It's my sort of second commander. Anytime a creature enters the battlefield, they explore. Now you'll notice that's not cast. So as the tokens come in, they also can explore. So it's kind of there just in case Hakbal gets knocked out. If they're both on the battlefield at the same time, then they're pumping as they enter and as they attack on the next turn, it's going to be great. Took out Thassa, God of the Sea. She's not always a creature. It costs mana to activate her. I think there's just better cards around. There's just a little bit too much faffing around to get her online. I thought I needed a little more ramp. Just in case Hakbal does get sent back to the command zone, you need to keep up with the curve, you need to get him back out. So I put in a rampant growth, and that came at the cost of Merfolk Sovereign. Once again, it's a lord that's going out, but it can tap to let an attacker through, and it's a good card, but I think the extra ramp is worth it. I'll see what happens. Is Hakbal as good as he looks? Does he ramp time after time? Who knows? I'll find out, I guess. Herald's Horn, dirt cheap in America, $2.49. It's $10 here in Australia. I'm doing a straight swap with it, with the Commander Sphere. They're the same CMC. I like the Sphere, but the Horn has too much going for it in typal decks. Get to do that Realm Walker effect off the top of the deck. It's not brilliant, but it's better than nothing. Plus, it makes spells cheaper to cast. So it doesn't just tap for 1 mana, it can save me 2 or 3 mana. Now we're getting into some interaction cards. I've put in a Mesmerizing Dose. That's come in while Ravenform is out. They're both sorcery speed, they're both 3 mana, but I get a Proliferate trigger off the Mesmerizing Dose. Technically, Ravenform is a better card, but I won't say much better. It's a bit better. But, that Proliferate, that's certainly going to help. The other piece of interaction, Counterspell coming in. I'm playing blue. I've got to have one. It's just in me, all right? Going out is Tributary Instructor. Now, the Instructor draws cards when my own creatures die. I'm not planning on them dying. This isn't a sacrifice deck. If it had actually said when they enter the graveyard from the Explore trigger, I would have kept it. Draw a card every time you explore and chuck a card in there. Oh, synergy. But it's not. It requires people to die. I don't want them to die. I've got a counterspell to stop board wipes. So, it went. It just didn't quite synergize. Deeproot Pilgrimage is in. It can create a lot of tokens, and with some of the creatures having an ability that requires tapping, remember Mero Commerce will untap them at the end of my turn so I can tap them again later. I can see situations where I have the ability to create a lot of tokens. Meanwhile, Simic Ascendancy went out. It's a cute second win con, but if you're putting 20 +1/+1 counters on your creatures in the course of a turn or two, then you're dominating and probably going to win anyway. Plus, quite honestly, I don't like those types of win cons. The game ends, everyone still has life. There's just no closure. It's bitty. Now we get to the 5 lands. Mystic Sanctuary and Lonely Sandbar go in, while 2 islands go out. The Sanctuary's there to get an instant or sorcery back, while the Sandbar's there just for the draw ability. If it gets put in your hand while exploring, or you already had it, whatever, and the next Explore trigger sees a card you want, then you can just cycle the Sandbar, get it off the top, put it in your hand, carry on with the exploring. Novagen, Heart of Progress. Much better version of the Lanoir Reborn. It enters untapped, and for Simic, I can put a 1/1 counter on each creature that entered, remembering there is a token sub-theme going on in this deck, whereas Lanoir Reborn, it does it once. It comes in tapped. Yeah, bye-bye. Last 2 lands, Dreamroot Cascade and Bark Channel Pathway are in, while Mosswort Bridge and Temple of Mystery are out. This is a fast deck with low-cost creatures. I don't think Mosswort is needed, quite honestly. And Temple of Mystery, well, that enters tapped. So Dreamroot will generally enter untapped as soon as there's 2 lands of any type. It's going to enter untapped, as will the Pathway land, which will fix your mana a little bit as well. So it's just going to speed up your curve a tad. And by the way, Dreamroot Cascade had a reprint in Doctor Who. It's currently $1.49. That is just brilliant value. That is brilliant value. Let's face facts. With these lands, I love these lands. Turn 1, unless you've got a Soul Ring, you're probably not casting anything, so you don't care if it comes in tapped. Turn 2 might be the only time you start casting stuff, mana rocks, etc. You do mind if it comes in tapped. After that, it's going to be untapped. It is an awesome card. And $1.49 is a bargain. Buy a bunch. Well, I'm not giving you financial advice, but you know what I mean. So that's the low end of the upgrade. At this point, we're up to a cost of $26.28. So the next 3 cards take us to 52.25. Pongify comes in, Benthic Biomancer goes out. This is just for some more interaction. Stopping them from winning allows you to stay in the game. If you are going to keep Benthic Biomancer in, then please get yourself a Wizard class. Take that up to its level 3. Him and Benthic Biomancer, they turn into a loop. You can make the Biomancer a plus 40, whatever. In fact, you could mill yourself out. And meanwhile, you get to draw and discard your entire deck. That could be a cute little second win con, really, rather than the Simic Ascendancy. Roaming Throne comes in. I got this last night in the pre-release party. It's a typal Stronic Resonator for creatures. It's going to give them a second trigger for triggered abilities. Putting that in, Growth Spiral is going out. That allows you to put in one land and draw a card. It doesn't seem that exciting, really. Just think if Roaming Throne is out, then Hakbal's triggers double, etc., etc. So you're putting out twice as many lands, and there's a lot of other creatures that have triggered abilities. Roaming Throne is going to double all of them. Really good card. Really good card. Get into it. Now for the fun. Third card out, Kindred Summons. Check this out. 7 mana. It's an instant. So at the end of the guy on your right's turn, go play this. Put as many merfolk from your deck, starting at the top, as you've actually got on the battlefield. If your Path of Discovery is there, you're going to do your Explore trigger, get your +1 counters. If Hakbal's there, you're going to get more Explore triggers. Swing in, beat the daylights out of somebody. Plus you'll get all your ETBs, all that business. Awesome card, awesome card. That comes in. Going out is Coral Helm Commander. Firstly, it ends up costing you 6 mana. So think of that as 4 mana for a 4/4 that flies, and 2 mana for a lord like the Mistbinder I dumped earlier. Yeah, no. I understand it can do this using unspent mana, but I'm playing blue. I need it for my counter spell. Yeah, it was close. I mean, it stayed in the deck all the way till now. So, anyway, that takes us up to 52.25 bucks. And the last 2 cards cost nearly 30, 29.98 in fact. I've put Exploration in, so we can play all those lands, extra one every turn. We lose Explore to do this, but it's a one-time effect, same as Growth Spiral. And of course, allowing that extra land, along with Roaming Throne, allows Hakbal to put 2 lands into play when he attacks. So it's the same effect as Growth Spiral and Explore, but it's a permanent effect. They're both in, yeah. That just keeps going on. So it's much better effect than just an instant and a sorcery. Finally, Raise the Palisade. It's coming in, Aetherize is going out. It makes it a kind of third board wipe. I've got Curse of the Swine. I'll call that as one. It's clearing a path for your attackers, and that takes a total cost to 82.23. Raise the Palisade is just great. It's awesome in, once again, typal decks. That's the wrap for this video. I'll put out monthly deck content, so do me a solid, smash that like, smash that subscribe button. I'll see you in actually a week with my Torwalkie the Younger deck. In the meantime, take care.